Okay, it's 1:30, the lights are on. This is Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment, August 4, 2022. Got a quorum. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Couple of quick announcements. If you're going to address the board, when you come to the podium, please be sure and state your name and your address so we can make a good record. Applicant will speak first, and then we'll call up anybody who would like to speak in support or opposition. And if you're not the applicant, please fill out one of these forms so that we don't miss anybody who wants to speak on a particular item. Also, in the interest of time, I have to leave early today, so at 3:30 I'm gone. Vice Chair will take over, and we'll still have a quorum unless anybody else leaves. Next item is to receive the minutes. Everybody had a chance to look over the minutes?
Briefly.
Is there a motion? Any
Motion to
changes?
receive. Yeah.
Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second. As soon as you get a voting pane.
I got a voting thing, but it never allowed me to move it. Apparently it's passed.
Okay.
We'll redo.
Did you get that down? Who made the motion in the second? Looks like we passed. We're good. Okay. Continuance requests and withdrawals. We've got two that are going to be withdrawn. Item 25, item 26, case 15021, case 15091. That was on the agenda. Any applicant request a continuance? Anybody from the public? Would you step up to the microphone?
Where's counsel?
My name's Rebecca Avey, and I would like to withdraw case number 15060, address 3928 Northwest 19th.
Okay, tell me again the case number.
15060, item number 11.
Number 11. Okay, withdrawn. Anybody else? Continuance, withdrawal, anything? Okay. Consent docket, we don't have one. So we'll go down to items requiring a separate vote. Pardon? I think we have a volunteer.
So item number 1, case number 15065, request for a variance to the setback regulations in the RA single-family 2-acre rural residential district located at 9116 Woodrock Drive.
Afternoon, Brian Hoffman, address 9116 Woodrock Drive. I was here last month. Needed to come back and move the shop around and try to meet the setback. I had the septic guys come out, do that's kind of like your 5-foot, 15-foot, and then a 25-foot line. You can see that 25-foot line where the spray heads are. I had the septic come out, quote, moving the septic lines, if I was able to move the whole shop 25 feet to the setback. They stated I wouldn't be able to do that due to the angle. I don't know if you can see the little playground set in the middle. They said to put the shop in the setback line, the septic line would have to cut northeast through that, and you have to have two heads there. They have to be 60 feet apart from each other, and 50 feet from that well. You see the like 6 garden beds. There's a little well right there to the right of it. So I wouldn't be able to have that shop push up to that 25-foot setback line. Now they did basically, I still would have to move my septic lines I think it was 17 feet. I'd have to shift them to the northeast where the heads are, 17 feet. So it basically goes straight east. The new line was to the, so that would be 15 feet from the property line. So the original one, I think I had 10 feet. I was able to push it to 15, and then I pushed the shop back 5 feet from the west fence line along the south side of the house. So I moved it 5 feet to the east and 5 feet to the north, just to try to get that 15 feet. But that's as far as I can move it, just due to the lines for the septic and how much room they need to spray. And that's kind of that top, that's kind of like a little quick range fan for the 50 feet. The first shop idea was obviously the bottom left, that 12-19 was just a rough area. And to fit that, the 25 by 25 setback is the new on the right side, and it would be right where the heads would have to be. So I wouldn't be able to put that there, or had the lines there anyways. So, and you can see that straight line is the new septic going out, and then the line going north is the new line to the second head.
Is it new proposed line, or did you actually move it?
I moved the shop because originally I had it at 10 feet from the property line.
Okay, you're just showing where your
Yeah, I just
septic
was
lines are. Okay,
different lines showing where the measurements were.
I got you.
So I was able to move it 5 feet to the west or to the east and 5 feet to the north to
Okay.
get to 15 feet from the setback line.
Definitely helps.
That's as far, and that shop right there, how it sits is about 3 feet from when they put the new septic line in, it'd be 3 feet from there, so just enough to kind of get a treasure and work on it if something broke.
So just so I'm clear, the request is for a variance of 10 feet into the setback line, correct?
So that was the first one. It didn't get changed on I read the board meeting notes that were sent out to the second time. It didn't get changed from 10 to 15 feet. So yeah, 10 feet
that what
within
we're
the
looking
setback
at?
line, so 15 from
Parking retail.
the property line, so I'd be encroaching 10 feet into it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
So you're
yes,
asking
yes.
for a variance to encroach 10 feet
Yes, ma'am.
in
Yes.
because you're able to get it 15, which
Which
is
would be
different than your initial
25.
request. You were asking to encroach 15
Yes,
feet,
ma'am.
right? So you went back, reworked it.
Yes, ma'am.
The variance request is now reduced somewhat.
Right.
And then the other question I had is, in your application at item D, you said you want to build the shop walls 14 feet, but the summary says that you want to build it 16 feet. So which,
I think the summary, there was one of those that it didn't get changed.
Okay.
The first one was 16 feet.
got it, okay.
And then I dropped it down to 14.
14, okay.
Just to get a 14-foot door, because if you go with open span, then I have a little bit of play with a garage door above that to get a
Right.
taller door and like a car lift in there to work
Yep.
on some vehicles.
Okay.
So I dropped it 2 feet, moved it 5 feet to the east and 5 feet to the north to try to get it a little closer to what y'all were wanting.
Well, personally, I'll say I appreciate the work that you've done to try to rework your plan. You know, as we explained before, one of the conditions that we have to meet is the variance you're requesting the minimum necessary to meet your needs or to solve the problem. And I feel like you've gone back, reworked. You've clearly put, you know, some time and expense into reworking this plan, so I appreciate your efforts to do that.
Questions or comments from the board?
Nope. I'm ready to make a motion.
I don't have anybody signed up to speak. Is there anybody who wanted to speak on this item? Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Yep. I'll move to approve 15065 for the reasons that it meets statutory requirements for variance.
Just for clarity, we're approving a variance of
Of
10 feet
10
setback,
feet variance.
14 feet for the
And,
walls,
yeah,
right?
10 feet and 14 on the wall.
Got it.
I'll second. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second.
Oh, there it is.
As soon as you get it paneled. Did you get your votes? Okay, sounds like you're approved.
What do I, I've never done this, what do I do now? Just
I
get the
think-
building or goes 10
Yeah,
days? Okay. Wait for a
Yeah.
letter or something, I guess?
I think you'll get an order from the city.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So item number 2, case number 15073, request for a variance to the required number of parking spaces and to permit parking within the right-of-way in the C3 district located at 2936 Northwest 23rd Street.
Good afternoon, Alex Kotlavenko. I'm the president, the owner of Sargent Enterprises in the European store, Oklahoma. This is a kind of 2.5 years in making, so I'm gonna have to read some details and fill you in a little bit more. So first, I would like to address a clarification to this item on the agenda. As it currently states, the request is for variance to the required number of parking spaces and to permit parking within the right-of-way. So the parking addition building permit BLDC 2021-00744 was approved based on the Traffic Commission approval dated January 22nd, 2021, and subsequent City Council approval dated 30th of March 2021, ordinances 26-712 and 26-713. The parking has already been constructed and inspected by the city. So it is, I guess it is unclear to me whether any further action is necessary from the Board of Adjustment on that specific part of the item. The request before Board of Adjustment today is purely of zoning intended use nature, related to Article 10, Section 10-600, Table 10-600.1 concerning parking requirements for retail use. The request is to waive or reduce parking requirement for property at 2936 Northwest 23rd Street to necessitate change of use to retail. An extensive write-up is attached to case documents, but I wanted to kind of hit on key points and address any questions. The building was purchased in January 2020 by us, a small retail grocer, neighborhood grocer, European store, Oklahoma, with intent to utilize acquired premises for neighborhood grocery retail location. The structure was built in the 50s, originally as retail location, but the last tenant there was a CPA firm. So current use is office, I believe. When we went to apply for a health department license to run the grocery operation, the issue came up of insufficient parking for retail operation as specified in Article 10, Section 10-600. Since January 2020, significant effort was devoted by us to provide additional parking adjacent to the structure. A Traffic Commission study, it's attached to the document packet, was conducted, and building permit titled Parking Addition was opened. It was approved by the Traffic Commission on the Traffic Commission meeting in January 2021, and subsequently the City Council approved it in March 2021. Prior to commencing work there for that building permit, significant investment was made in relocation of public utilities. We had to reroute AT&T line, remove Verizon MCI fiber vault, which did not recommend doing that at any point in time, and relocated OG&E's terminal pole to clear that part of the right-of-way for parking. The project was closely supervised and thoroughly inspected by the Department of Public Works. So it was not just me going out there and digging stuff up. It was very thoroughly inspected. Yet, even with parking improvements constructed and according to plans approved by the Traffic Commission, the building still lacks sufficient parking for change of use from office to retail, which requires currently one parking space per 200 feet of gross square footage. Current building square footage is right around 1,800. And this parking addition project, approved by the Traffic Commission, generated a total of 6 parking spot. 1 assigned ADA parking, 4 angle parking spots on the west side of the building, and 1 parallel parking spot on the north side of the building. You can see this is the site plan that was approved. So we have the ADA parking, additional angle parking, and then on the north side they permitted as a parallel spot. So we kindly ask to consider substantial time and financial commitment to providing high-quality conventional and ADA accessible parking to the area in considering our request to reduce a waive parking requirement for the property. I wanted to mention a couple other points that I think are relevant. As I said, the structure was built in the 50s, and the majority of business district parking was in the 50s located along the 23rd Street, so right where you see a parallel spot now. Since then, the population and traffic growth necessitated 23rd Street expansion, making it an arterial street and diminishing space available for parking along the 23rd Street. So furthermore, evolving traffic regulations regarding backing out distances reduced allowable parking on the north side of the building from 90-degree to angle parking to right now we only can get basically 1 parking spot in the front, and that is parallel spot because there's not a sufficient backing out distance per Traffic Commission. So while legacy parking on the north side of the building is grandfathered in, it can no longer be counted by the city as legal for a change of use case like what we're talking about. And the second, please consider our significant effort and investment in providing quality and code compliant is a key word, parking conditions for the location patrons and members of general public, which improves the neighborhood overall. Relief would allow our small business to invest into the building mechanical and exterior improvements, enhancing appearance of the block along the 23rd Street corridor. Also accommodating our request for change of use would bring a local grocery option to the neighborhood while providing home for a local small business. With this, we kindly ask the Commission to consider accommodating our request. Thank you.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, is there room on the north side for maybe some motorcycle spots or bike racks, something like that?
On the north side, so I mean, this is a great spot, a great picture of it. So this is the west side of the building. That's
where the other parking.
That's where the angle parking was. We with the Traffic Commission went through 3 iterations of plans for this, right? So initial plan that we submitted with the engineer that we hired was for a 90-degree parking, and that would have accommodated that would sufficed for the change of use. It would have allowed us enough parking spots. But because of the, but because of the backing out distances and encroaching on the lane of upcoming traffic, even on the residential street, we had to modify it to 60-degree, which reduced our number of parking spots even more, especially considering a fairly large footprint of the ADA accessible parking spot. So we went from, I believe, 6 or 7 parking spots that would have been 90-degree parking spots to what we have basically now, which is 5 in the front, including ADA, and the parallel at north. And north side, that would have to. It's currently is angle parking, as I said, is grandfathered in, but I cannot count anything towards the change of use because it is not current code compliant with how wide and being 23rd being an arterial street now.
Does anybody know, is this non-conforming as its current use or as the office use?
I'm sorry?
I'm kind of asking staff, Looks like Jared's the only one here, maybe. Was the original use non-conforming, the O2, or was it? No? Don't know? Okay.
So I want to be clear that I'm understanding what we're asking for here. So the square footage is 1,800.
Yes.
One space per 200 feet, so we're looking at 9 spaces,
Correct.
right? You have, and you currently were able to generate 6.
Correct.
Correct? So we're asking for a variance of 3. 3
Yes.
spots, right? That you
Yes,
don't have
yes.
to put in these 3 spots.
Yes.
So my first question kind of goes off of Mike's, which is, you know, the parking reduction, the section of Article 10 where we're talking about the parking reduction, the 10,600.5, all these ways that you can reduce the number of parking. Have you, I'm assuming the planners and your engineers have gone through the various things, not just motorcycle, but motorcycle and scooter, bicycle, tree preservation, landscaping, all the things that you could do to potentially
We have-
reduce?
We have looked at it extensively. There's literally no more space. It's not just the space constraint there. There's some utility constraints there.
Yeah.
With OG&E, they were able to move their terminal pole, but it is still there. So that's if you're looking at kind of. I don't know if there's a picture of completed parking, but there's literally a sliver of. We had to measure it with a ruler for them to be able to put their terminal pole in, and for us to be able to cut curb just in the right spots. It is that part of the city that is vintage enough that there's just not a whole lot that. There's no more feasible ways that we can do anything.
Yeah, and if the answer is yes, we've looked at all that and it can't be
Yes.
done, that's what I'm
Yes.
getting at. So for me, just my comments to the board, I guess, is that looking at the application and the statutory standards that we have to meet, I think I can get to all of them. I think it's peculiar to this property. I think you've clearly outlined what you've had to do as the minimum necessary. You need this 3 space variance, although, I mean, it is 33% of what you're required to have, so that's pretty substantial. But one question I have, and maybe you can speak to this if there are any other board members that have this concern, is, you know, we have to find that it's not going to cause a substantial detriment to the surrounding area. And so obviously the reason we have these minimum requirements is to make sure that your grocery store isn't patronized by 30 people taking up spots that belong to other businesses.
Correct.
So could you just speak to that a little bit?
So all of the along the 23rd Street, if you can pull up the, I wish I had the laser pointer, but you see where we broke ground on angle parking along the Brookline, right? Yeah, correct. Yes. So and then just north of that, it's all concrete. It's also parking. It's also parking that is in the right of way, publicly available parking.
Public, okay.
It's publicly available parking. When Traffic Commission was doing their review, they did find that it will not cause public detriment in terms of safety, right? So that's part of their review, and they did the speed radar study and making sure that there's enough space between, you know, the traffic control sign, the stop sign, and things of that sort. So they did the study from that standpoint, from the safety standpoint, from the standpoint of just district parking overall. All of the parking in that along the 23rd Street is technically public parking because it is all currently within the right of way or east. I don't know what, but so all of it is technically public parking. So what we've done, we were able to generate additional public parking for the area that is safe, ADA compliant. There's no ADA spot there for miles probably. So we were able to generate additional parking to contribute to that area. but technically all of parking around that area is public parking and
Yeah.
publicly available.
That's all the questions I have.
Anybody else have questions or comments?
I do have a comment, because if it's already public parking, why are you requesting additional?
Technically, I think for change of use, see, the way that the city looks at it is, I do not have, none of the parking is on my property, technically, right?
Not even the 6 you talked about earlier?
No, no. All of it is, so all of this work was done for I cannot put a sign there saying it is, you can only park it for the grocery store. No, it is all public parking. I generated those additional spots to be able to have adjacent parking to the location, which would allow, yeah. So technically, we can, I can count that as adjacent parking to the retail location, and they can say you can change use. Okay. But from where, I guess from where the city stands, I cannot put a sign saying that you can only park there. I will tow, because you're parking in my spot. It's not my spot. I just put a ton of money into public spots that are adjacent to my property.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak? If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I think he's got there for me, so I'll move to approve case number 15073 for the reasons that it meets the statutory requirements for a variance, and that variance being a total of 3 parking spots.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. As soon as you get the voting panel, cast your votes. I didn't see. I assume we got 4. Okay. Looks like you're approved.
Thank you.
Right.
Item number 3 is case number 15077, request for a variance of setback regulations in the R2 Medium Low Density Residential District located at 1804 West Park Place.
Okay. Derek Hicks here. Somebody on his behalf? No? All right. Want to roll it to the bottom, wait and see if he shows up, or do you want to just defer it? Does anybody have a preference?
I'll move to continue.
Yeah, that's fine.
I second that we continue.
Got a motion and a second to continue to whatever's our next board meeting? Pardon?
I move to continue case number 15077, since the applicant doesn't appear to be present, to our next meeting, which is
18th, I think.
August 18th,
Yeah.
2022.
Okay, got a motion, we got a second?
Second.
Cast your votes when we get a screen, there we go. There we go. Okay, continue. Next.
Item number 4, case number 15085, request for a variance to the fence regulations in PUD 1701, Planned Unit Development District located at 2101 Westbury Drive.
Hi, Ron Walters, 8501 South Walker. I feel like I don't have enough pretty pictures. Guys, basically, we've got there's two houses back up to a development we're doing at Oak Haven at Westbury. That little bitty red line in the southwest corner there, or the middle of the page, there you go. We back up to those two houses. I mean, we can go up to, we got a 6-foot fence there now. We go to 8 foot, but it's just not enough. You're looking over, we're looking over the top of it, and so the request is to extend that fence up to 9 foot. It's about 190 feet there.
I think this one was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah. Questions, comments from the board?
I like,
It's the old golf course, right?
yeah, it's located on the.
Yeah, that's the old Westbury golf course, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There's gonna be probably a couple of different things like this, I would say, this development. I don't know. I'm fine with 9 feet.
We have a senior living development on the north side of the property. It's real nice. And there's a single-family home on the south side there. But like I said, it's those two houses we back up to. Our grade's a little higher than theirs, and, we put the fence in. It's nice brick column, cedar fence, all that kind of stuff. And we need to go up with it. It's not real complicated. We're adding up, poles between everything, and we're doubling up the poles, doing all that kind of routine, because we got this nice mild Oklahoma breeze that comes through here continually. But anyway, it'll be built right. It looks good. The neighbors are real happy to the south of us. I don't guess anybody's here. Y'all have any questions, I'll rest my case.
I don't have anybody else signed up to speak on this one. Does anybody in the audience want to comment? If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'd like to move that we approve case number 15085 for a variance of 9 foot, 3 feet, that's only 3 feet, for a variance of 3 feet
Yes, ma'am.
increase.
Actually, the variance is only a
The variance
foot.
is
It's only a
one.
It's
foot
for-
to
1
the
foot,
city
okay.
standards, yeah. I think 8 is their max.
Okay, got a motion, got a second?
Move that, read that wrong.
Cast your votes when you get the panel. There we go.
Thank you all.
Approved.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Item number 5, case number 15087, request for a variance to the architectural regulations in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 9201 Southwest 59th Street.
Somebody on behalf Mustang Schools?
I'll move that we continue case number 15087 for the reason that the applicant is not present to our next meeting of August 18th, 2022.
A second.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes. Okay, continue.
Item number 6, case number 15088, request for a variance to the minimum lot size requirement in the AA Agricultural District located at 10036 Northwest 164th Street.
Brenda Graham, the property's at 10036 Northwest 164th Street. We had an 80-acre parcel of farmland, and last year, when we decided to sell it, we had professionally surveyed off 1 acre around the only home on that 80 acres. We sold the 79 acres around that home last year. Now we have the 1 acre and the home left, and we would like to sell it. And unbeknownst to us at the time, evidently, you're supposed to have 5 acres around the house. We did not know that, and the other 79 has already sold. So now we're just stuck.
Are the other homes, it says in your application that the surrounding property was sold to a developer. Are those going to be developed like 5-acre lots? I'm guessing if that's the requirement.
You think? I'm not, they are wanting to build homes. I'm not sure what the plots will be.
It depends if they can rezone
Can we
it.
get your name and address,
I'm sorry,
please?
it's Sarah Fleming. I'm the real estate agent.
Okay.
It depends if it's rezoned residential, if they can get that rezoning. Otherwise, it's going to be 5-acre lots. But it was my understanding that they were going to be rezoned as residential because all the other homes around there are all zoned residential across the street. That's a neighborhood.
Water, sewer available, I assume. Is water and sewer available in that area? Water and sewer?
Water and sewer.
Yeah. Is it available at the,
For the house in 1 acre?
no, yeah, pretty much just that site?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Any other questions from the board?
Kind of a substantial variance.
Okay, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody in the audience that wanted to comment? Any other questions from the board? Guess we're ready for a motion now.
So is the variance for a 4-acre variance, is that how that would be, I guess, couched?
Yeah, I believe so.
And if we do that, does that run with the property?
Yeah,
Or,
yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. How would this affect the other properties that they're planning on building on this piece of land? Because I don't know exactly where your house is situated and how that would affect the overall.
Can you put that picture back up?
In my opinion, I think this ought to be a zoning application, not a variance, but
Instead of us. That-
4 acres
That's
is
what
quite
I'm
a
getting
bit.
at.
how do they get it back to,
they go to planning.
yeah?
Is anybody staff that can, kind of short staff today?
And it's really difficult for us because they've already zoned the other properties to be 5-acre lots.
I don't believe that's happened. I think that's
The
just,
young lady just stated that the builder is looking at doing.
well, looking at it, that
Yes.
doesn't mean he's done.
Well, looking at, and if
No, I
that's the
think what Kitty's
case.
saying is that as it stands, it's zoned where they all should be 5 acres if they split it
Absolutely.
up.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a
Well,
pending,
that's a
or
concern too. Yeah.
potentially a request in the future to rezone residential, but that's not been done, which makes me think that you're right, this is
Yeah.
more appropriate for
Yeah.
It most
think it
definitely
is.
is.
planning and zoning. And procedurally, what do we,
When that happens, I mean, your application fee will be applied to a planning commission for that application. And then you'll just have to go through the process of notification and then,
Okay, they're the ones that sent me to you all. Went through-
Planning
they've been-
department or
been
planning
working on this
commission?
about over
Yeah.
almost a year now.
they,
That is correct. We had this for review through Planning Department.
yeah.
We felt that this particular scenario, because the developer was going to rezone that to possibly 1-acre lots, one single-family dwelling homes. So we told her we would try to go the board way for minimum lot size.
Yeah, if they were zoned 1 acre around it, I'd be okay with it. It'd be a
but that's
non-issue.
contingent, I don't even know, has that process been started?
I don't think so.
The process hasn't been started yet.
Yeah, I can't base my opinion on something that could or couldn't happen.
That's a decision we can't determine, in my opinion, as a board member.
Well, the variance is just going to be to the lot size, so if you
Yeah, it's a
consider
4-acre
the lot
variance.
size versus 5 acres for 1 acre, because at the time she had a home that was already built, and the developer did not buy that. So
It was my understanding that that piece of property was not up for sale at the time that the developer was purchasing the properties. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe, if I'm
So,
They knew better than you did of the requirements, I'm sure.
yeah.
That we have since offered it to them and they don't want it, so.
Surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Cindy, I'm sorry if you answered this question, but did you say this has already been to planning once?
No.
it has
Okay.
not been to
Okay.
planning commission.
Just a lot of
Then
phone calls and
Just
conversations.
planning staff looked at it and
Got it.
thought that this would be an avenue that she could.
Our concern as a board is that you're asking us to grant a variance for this particular piece of property that would allow you to vary, right, from the standard of having to have 5 acres on that lot. And our concern is if we do that for this one piece and all of this around it is undeveloped, we're kind of setting a standard of what that should or could look like in the future, and that's really a planning issue, not just a little variance to a particular piece of property. So I don't think, at least I'm hearing 3 of the board members voice that we're not really comfortable with that, so we think that you should take this application before the planning commission. If they're gonna rezone all of that residential, then, I don't know anything about that process or how that would be done. But this is something that they should consider through that lens, not here where we're just needing to vary something because of and like Mike was saying, I mean, you can take your application fee for this process and apply it to your planning commission process. So I think in that situation, do we just continue this, counselor, or
Yes.
what?
It should be, well, actually, you could just go ahead and deny it, because you're not going to give her any additional relief. This is the last that you're going to hear this, so.
Well, if we deny it, does that allow the same to go with planning and apply the fee and all that stuff, though?
If you continued it, it's a pending application.
Then they can switch things around and
And
not be
Cindy,
on the hook for the full
you
fee.
would then allow her to switch this from a Board of Adjustment application to a Planning Commission application, as long as this application was open? So you
Right.
should continue it to allow her that.
Right.
I don't want her to spend filing fees
No.
twice.
Right, that's what
Right.
I was trying
Yeah,
to
if we could
avoid
get
as
away
well.
from- If we keep from it, it'd be
Yeah.
nice. Since, planning staff pushed them this way anyway, so. It's not the first time. Sometimes they look at things a lot different than we do, but.
So that's what, I guess, do we need a motion, or do we have more questions?
Yeah, I didn't have
A motion
anybody
to
signed up
continue.
to speak on this. Anybody in the audience want to? Okay, we're ready for a motion then.
Continue indefinitely, or? Because
Pick a date
she's
that-
gonna have to, they're gonna have to go through the notification process and all that stuff, so.
Pick a date specific, but you could move it way out into the future, like 6 months from now. And
Okay.
you have your date, the last one for this year is December 1st.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm good with that.
Then I'll move that we continue case number 15088 to the December 1st Board of Adjustment meeting. I don't know what
I'll
happened.
second.
And work with staff to try to figure out the logistics on getting to planning, and they'll help you out on that whenever somebody's around. Jared's here.
Okay.
Cindy,
It'd be best for her.
they're busy.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes when you get the panel. Okay, you're continued.
Item number 7, case number 15089, application for a special exception to allow a mobile home to serve as a temporary second dwelling to relieve a medical hardship in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 4600 Chelsea Lane.
My name is Steve Brown, and we sent the paperwork in. They told us to come here, so I'm just trying to get Mom moved on the property.
Hit the highlights, just go over your request.
We're just wanting to kind of add on to our driveway, just have another little small driveway cut in there and put a mobile home in there for her to stay in. so that she can be right there with us to take care of her and stuff.
You know it'll be temporary, right?
Yes.
Up to 3 years.
And
okay.
they said that I had to get a letter, we'll have to do a letter every 3 years.
Yep.
And then, but I have no intentions of it staying there.
I just know you were planning driveways and stuff. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going too much farther with all that. With the new stuff for the new house that's not going to be there forever.
Oh, yes,
It's okay.
sir,
You
yes,
got it,
sir.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from the board? I didn't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Does anybody comment? If not, we're ready for a motion.
I would like to motion that we approve case number 15089 for a special exception to move a single mobile home on the property lot
Yes, ma'am.
for a
many
period of 3 years.
Okay. Got a second?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I don't hear good.
I don't either.
You're all right. There it is.
You're approved.
So they'll send me a letter and then I
Yeah,
go to
you'll get an order. It takes a couple of, however long,
About 10 days.
10
That's
days.
what usually
Okay,
is.
and then I go to the planning commission and do all that?
No, should be good after that.
Yeah, you're complete.
Thank you.
You're-
Welcome.
So we just get something in the mail?
Yes.
And it'll tell us what?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Item number 8 is case number 15092. Request for a variance to the setback regulations in PUD 1748, located at 13917 Southwestern Avenue.
Good afternoon, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. This is a setback request from Western Avenue, and it's one that actually went before Planning Commission last week for the specific plan application. This PUD, like most new PUDs, require that prior to any building permits being issued, one must go before Planning Commission to confirm that the proposed development is in conformance with the PUD. Here, it is in conformance with the PUD, but for the setback along Western. The setback along Western under the code would be 25 feet. What we're seeking to do is what planning staff has been pushing for quite some time, and that is bring buildings more to the front and have parking in back so that our arterial street network is not littered with what is considered the least desirable part of a development, that being the parking lot. So in order to achieve the policy goals expressed in the comprehensive plan, we have to get a variance. So although the quote front of the building is facing to the west and to the parking lot, the building line is going to be 15 feet from the line as measured from Western. So Planning Commission did approve the specific plan and did recommend approval of the variance based upon the fact that it does meet those policy goals expressed in the comprehensive plan to bring buildings more to the front of the street and push parking in the back. In fact, as Mr. Privet can attest to, I've been in many fights here recently with planning staff as to why certain sites frankly just can't make it work based upon the size of the site to put those buildings in the front. This happened to be a development and a site that was large enough to put that parking in back and still be able to achieve those policy goals along Western Avenue. So with that, again, Planning Commission did recommend approval of the variance, approved the specific plan. Staff has provided no unfavorable considerations. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments from the board?
What's your hardship? Planning Commission?
What's that?
What's your hardship? Planning Commission?
Yes.
Yeah.
The variance is 10 feet, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Other than you, it's just your other colleagues, Mr. Privet.
All right. Any other questions, comments? I don't have anybody signed up, so anybody wants to speak on this one? Okay, we're ready for a motion.
I would like to move that we approve case number 15092 for a variance of 10 feet.
Do we have a second? There we go. Cast your votes.
I'm not getting a voting pain, but I'll vote in the affirmative. I'm not getting a voting pain.
The suspense, it's building.
It happens.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
There you go, you're approved.
Good luck with your project, sir.
Item 9 is case number 15090, request for a variance to the accessory building regulations in the RA Single Family 1 Acre Rural District located at 15300 Lakeshore Drive.
Hi, I'm Michelle Comark, 15300 Lakeshore. My request is that we are able to put a building or a shop in front of the rear wall, so we're asking for a variance on that behind the rear wall for any type of building. We were meeting the 25-foot setback. The way that our property is angled, we've had a survey completed just to try every option, and there's just no way, the way it goes back like this, that we can meet the setback and still have it behind the rear wall.
Hey, you're not related to my sister-in-law, are you?
Do what?
You're not related to my sister-in-law, are
No.
you? Okay. She has the exact same name, so it's kind of a different name, just being sure.
I mean, it sounds like this piece of property is pretty
Yeah.
uniquely situated. It's also in a rural area, so I didn't see any
Yeah, I got
major
no
issues with
issues.
this one.
No
Got a ton
issues
of
at
open
all with
space
this
that's
one.
just to the right side that just have a little bit of trees that we were gonna take out and just use that open space so that we can keep our backyard. Otherwise, there would be no backyard if we just shrunk the size of the building, but we wanted a larger building because we have 3 boys and lots of toys and lawn equipment, so.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
No, this is pretty
And
easy.
again, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak? If not, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll move approval of case number 15090 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the variance requested.
Second.
Motion and a second. Let's get a panel. Cast your votes.
Awesome, I appreciate you guys'
You're
time.
approved. You want to?
Thank you.
Okay. You want to recess or?
You have a quorum, so you can go if you want it.
That's
Otherwise,
correct.
you just go.
2 seconds.
Okay. Do we need a motion to go into a recess? Okay. We've got a request for a short recess, a couple minutes, so Are we ready? Back on the record.
All right, item number 10 is case number 15059, application for a special exception to allow lodging accommodations, home sharing short-term rental in the R2 medium-low density residential district located at 2332 Northwest 16th Street.
Rebecca Avey, and I'm here representing Brian and Jennifer Hannon. I live at 801 Northeast 19th Street in Oklahoma City. The address in question is 2332 Northwest 16th. So this is actually a 3-bedroom home, but they are planning to limit it to 2 bedrooms for use, so 4 guests maximum. That's mainly based on the amount of parking spaces available, which would be 2, to allow for off-street parking only. No parties would be allowed. We'd like to do a minimum of a 3-night stay just because of the proximity to the Plaza District. Kind of makes it maybe a spot where people would want to go for the weekend, so we kind of want to discourage that. And I'm not sure what else. No parties allowed. There will be a Ring camera on the door, and one of the bedrooms is designated as an office. So, yeah.
Questions, comments from the board?
I didn't see whether these owners have any other properties.
They don't.
Short-term
No,
rental
they bought
properties?
this one just for when they visit here to use it for themselves.
How is parking on this street normally? Is there a lot of people parking on the street?
It's 16th Street, so it's not allowed.
Not allowed?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of a main thoroughfare.
Cool, all right.
Yeah.
On the map that we're looking at, Cindy, the address for this one's 2332 Northwest 16th. And on the map that we're looking at, it's one of the ones that's highlighted in purple, correct? Okay, I want to make sure I'm not looking at that in addition to. Okay. I guess for the record, I'll just make a comment that, I mean, this area of town seems to be getting pretty saturated with these short-term rental properties. This is an area that's near the Plaza District. So
I do think, though, being on 16th, it's kind of, you know, not so much of a residential feel on that street. You know, it's already just busy with traffic and walking traffic, so it's kind of ideal for that.
are there homes around it?
There are, but, you know, there's like a little gas station kind of, well, not gas station, but like a convenience store on the corner and stuff. I mean, I don't know. It's just a lot more like traffic for sure than a normal residential street.
Any other questions, comments from the board? And again, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this. Anybody in the audience that wants to comment?
Did you come up here?
Go ahead, come on up. Did you fill out a form? I didn't get one. But, go ahead, come on up. I'm sorry, are you on this case? Not this case. Okay. Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion then.
Don't everybody.
You want
Pretty
me to?
sure I
If it
can't make a
wants all-
motion.
You can.
I'll give it a shot for a period of 1 year. Motion to approve special exception. Are we on number 15059 for a period of 1 year,
Include the self-imposed.
including the self-imposed
And-
rules and advertising? Yep.
Including the minimum 3-night stay rule?
Minimum 3-night stay, sure.
Because I didn't
yes.
see that on your self-imposed conditions.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. When you get a voting pane, cast your votes.
Click that all day long. There you go. I did. I don't have my.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
gotta
know.
wait. There we go.
There we go.
Suspense.
I don't have a voting pane. I'll move approval. I mean, I'll vote in favor.
Okay, you're approved.
I'm just gonna stand up here for a while. I've got a few.
Yeah.
All right.
11
So-
withdrawn.
11 was withdrawn. So item number 12 is case number 15061, application for special exception to allow lodging accommodations, home sharing short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 3725 Northwest 18th Street.
Again, I'm Rebecca Avey, 801 Northeast 19th Street, for 3725 Northwest 18th Street, Irene Toe. Irene bought the property originally just as a rental. She has a couple in the city. She decided she wants to give short-term rentals a try. So again, Ring camera will be installed. This is going to be, it's a 3-bedroom house, maximum of 6 guests. No smoking, no unauthorized guests, and no parties. We'll do a minimum of 2 nights on this one. Not really a big party area of the city. This one would be kind of geared towards like fairground crowd. A lot of people come in town for horse shows and stuff like that and come with their families. So it's kind of a good area for that.
Questions, comments from the board?
Did we have any opposition to this one?
I don't have anybody signed up, so anybody wants to speak on this? Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion then.
I'd move approval of case number 15061 for a period of 1 year with the statutory or the self-imposed conditions, including a minimum 2-night stay, that it be advertised in that way for a period of 1 year.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. As soon as you get a voting screen, cast your votes.
Yeah, Monica's apparently it's not working. Monica, I've moved it because yours apparently is not working.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I went ahead and moved it.
Thank you.
Mike's gonna second
And
it.
I can second, or yeah, Mike second.
Okay.
I don't have a voting pane, so.
All right. Now cast your votes.
Monica, log out of your PrimeGov and then log back in.
It's all updating, it's just the voting pane's not coming up. Like, everything is moving along.
Right. It does it to me sometimes,
Mine
and that usually fixes
minutes
it
ago too.
I don't even know how do you, like.
for whatever reason.
It's crazy.
Cindy, my vote is in favor of this one, just so we can move on. I'll try to.
You're approved.
Item number 13 is case number 15062, application for special exception to allow lodging accommodations, home sharing, short-term rent in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 4017 North Quapaw Place.
I'm Rebecca Avey, here on behalf of Ann Semenk, 4917 North Quapaw Place. Ann's actually owned this property for many years. She lives in Florida and has family here. She had a long-term renter in there for years, and they just moved out. So she wanted a place to stay when she comes back and thought doing short-term would be a good option. This one is also a three-bedroom home, but only allowing for 4 guests, and 1 room is an office. She kind of wants to gear towards like nurses and stuff, being close proximity to the hospital. It will have a ring camera, no parties, no unauthorized guests, minimum 2-night stay. Off-street parking.
I don't see any on our map on this one.
Yeah,
Heavily populated with short-term rentals.
right, got it.
Any other comments, questions from the board? I don't have anybody signed up on this one. Does anybody wants to speak on this case? If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I would like to move that we accept case number 15062 for a period of 3 years with all of the self-imposed conditions.
We have a second?
It's popped up.
Oh, what time? I didn't hear.
I asked for a period of 3 years.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did your voting pen come out?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. I'll second.
And you cast your vote as soon as you get it. There we go.
Yes. I mean, it came up, my voting panel came up.
That's okay.
Ready?
Case number, or item number 14 is case number 15066, application for special exception to allow lodging accommodations, home sharing, short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 3737 Northwest 62nd Street.
Good afternoon, member. My name is Nicholas Nguyen. I am the representative for the homeowner at 37 Northwest 62nd Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73112. Mr. Peter is the owner of this property, and he intends to apply the home sharing special permit for this property. He is the homeowner and investor from out of state, and he come to Oklahoma to do frequent business here, and he would like to use this property as a second home. And beside that, he also use the home to share with the other visitor and his co-worker and the business partner to stay in Oklahoma. And he believes that, by applying for this property as a home share, he can generate more revenue for our city state. And this property used to be the rental property, and it's in very bad shape. And he really make a lot of improvement on this property and make the property look nicer, much better than it used to be. Then he wished that the council be able to apply to approve his permit for this case. Then that's all we do have today.
The concern I had with this application was that it says that there's 2 rooms being offered and the maximum number of guests is 6.
Yes, we have a 2-room, and we allow only maximum of 6 guests to stay, and we have a 2-car garage parking, and we have extra 2 parking space available.
Are there bunk beds in that room, the 2 rooms, or, 3 people per room?
We have a extra pull out sofa bed, and we have 2 bedroom, and we in the locked living room that they can accommodate for that.
Any other questions, comments?
So we did receive a complaint on this one. You noted?
Pardon?
I said, did you know we received a complaint on this one?
Yes, I saw that. I don't have anybody signed up to speak. I do have one protest letter. Is there anybody in the audience that wanted to speak on this one? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and have a seat and give her a minute to speak. Would you give us your name and address, please?
Mine's Susan Whaley, and I live at 3804 Northwest 62nd Street.
Okay.
And I have a concern about having a commercial venture in our neighborhood. It's a single-family residential area. And we've had companies trying to come in and buy up the houses that are for sale, and they're renting them, and the maintenance of them has not been as desired. And so we're concerned about a commercial venture and the maintenance of the property on the street. So do we have any kind of, I couldn't understand everything he was saying, so I don't know that we have
I will tell you that maintenance tends to improve on these short-term rentals.
I beg your pardon?
Maintenance seems to improve on these short-term rentals as far as curb appeal and, the looks of them, mainly because people that are renting them don't want to stay in a dumpy-looking house. So, I mean, there's that. That's probably the best single thing I can think of for a plus point of short-term homeowners or home-sharing applications in lieu of long-term rentals. But, that's the one benefit. The maintenance will most likely improve.
And we've considered that. We've talked about that. My neighbors and I, immediately around me. I guess that's our main concern, is maintenance of the property. And, no parties and no big groups and that sort of thing. And I think that was mentioned in the earlier exceptions. So, but again, I didn't understand, would that be an agreement in this exception also?
Yes, he has that condition listed in his application. It says no parties, no pets, quiet hours after 10 p.m., no smoking inside the house, no walking with shoes inside the house, and they have to report any damage or breakage.
Okay.
Those are conditions that he's imposed, that this property will be advertised in that fashion. So anyone renting the home would have to follow those rules.
Okay.
And I'm probably going to ask him to concede with one more, as far as being not a one-night only rental, minimum 2 for sure.
We just didn't
keep
get
that
a
down.
lot of information on this, and we
Gotcha.
didn't know about it. So that's why we wanted some representation here, because we're concerned about our neighborhood.
Gotcha.
Appreciate you being
Yes.
here,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else additional?
I just have a question for the applicant. Would you be open to complying with a couple other conditions? One condition that I would like to propose is that you advertise this property as being off-street parking only, meaning folks that rent the place can't park on the street. The reason I say that is some of the concerns that we received from neighbors talk about infrastructure concerns, and I think that might help alleviate some of that if they were parking in the parking
We concur with that.
in the
condition.
driveway only.
Yeah, that's right. Parking in the driveway only, no public, no on-street parking.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then, are you okay with a 2-night minimum?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? I guess we're ready for a motion then.
I'd move approval of case number 15066 for a period of 1 year, on the condition that the property is advertised as you have it written here with all of these rules.
Yeah.
In addition, the property will be advertised as no on-street parking or off-street only. They have to park in the driveway, and it has to be a 2-night minimum. That's my motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
Didn't push anything.
You're approved.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, member.
Item number 15 is case number 15069, application for special exception to allow lodging accommodations, home sharing, short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 2904 North Harvard Avenue.
Hello, my name is Brad Tillman. I live at 6208 Sudbury Drive. We're requesting the home share variance at 2904 North Harvard Avenue in Oklahoma City. I prepared a statement that I'll read now, just as it collects my thoughts. So we're requesting that variance, as I mentioned. This is located in the Windsor Hills Addition near 29th and Ann Arbor. The house was our primary residence from September 2016 to January of this year. We have history of hosting short-term rentals in this home when it was our primary residence for roughly 2.5 years, during which time we hosted well over 200 guests and maintained a star status of 4.8 or higher. We have strict house rules that do not allow parties and have a Ring doorbell camera on the front door to verify only authorized guests are the ones entering the property. We also plan to install additional cameras on the house should the exemption be approved to monitor unauthorized guests and activities such as parties. We also do not allow smoking or the use of illegal substances, nor do we allow pets in the home. We have hired lawn service, pool service, and a cleaning service that keep the property's curb appeal the best possible and to keep a close eye on the property. We have a strong working relationship with all of our maintenance crews, and we are confident in their ability to ensure that the property is safe and secure before they leave. We have strong relationships with all of our immediate neighbors, as we've lived there for we lived there for over 5 years, and we've informed them of our intentions of this property and received no protest from them. All of the neighbors have our personal contact information and have agreed to keep an eye on the property for us. We live within 15 minutes of the property, and we routinely check on it to ensure that it's safe and being properly maintained. We have intentions of accommodating our families from out of state and out of country as they come to visit, and we have specifically made this property conducive to hosting families and guests as a place to rest and relax, as opposed to a place that serves to entertain and promote a party-like atmosphere. To vet prospective guests, we have requirements such as government-issued ID, photo, and verified email address. We also check guests' prior host ratings and review prior to approving any booking. In response to any opposition to this request, I want to assure all parties that we have a vested interest in maintaining the property at the highest level. We feel that having short-term renters at this property will allow us to control the property in a better way than renting it long-term. Normally, long-term renters, as you know, do not take care of the property as well as a homeowner would, and we would have much less control. Examples of this would be deferred maintenance to the lawn, the pool, and general housekeeping of the property. In response, it could also be argued that this is a benefit to the city by way of occupancy taxes remitted on our behalf. And from our research, it appears that this area does not have a heavy concentration of short-term renters.
Do we have any questions, comments from the board?
My only comment is I think 10 guests is a lot for this property. I know you're advertising, well, that's one of my comments. The other is your application at item D just says self-imposed rules of conduct for guests. What does that mean?
My wife filled out the application. That's a good question.
Throw her under the bus.
Throw her under the bus.
Is it okay if she?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello, this is Evelyn Tillman for 2904 North Harvard Avenue. I thought I submitted they asked me for an extra little piece of paper
saying our rules, and I thought I had that on there, but maybe it didn't go through, or maybe didn't remember it. But
I didn't get
I
it.
just had like no parties, no smoking, no pets, and quiet times at night, so that kind of thing, to keep it nice and quiet for our neighbors. No, I do not. Sorry.
Was your quiet time like what, after 9 p.m.?
No, it's
Yeah.
working. Monica, you can write them down.
I am.
Apparently I forgot my pen.
Yeah, I guess, to make me more comfortable with this application, I would, ask the applicants if you'd be willing to decrease the number of guests. 10 people in one house is a lot.
With a pool?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you don't have a party with 10 people at a house with a pool. That just seems ripe for that condition. We did receive a concerned neighbor, statement. I don't know if they're here, they may be willing to speak up on it. But again, we're trying to balance the interest of everyone involved. And I just feel like, this is not one of these kind of mega homes that we've seen a few of, and this is a 4-bedroom house. I mean, 10 people seems like a lot. So would you be willing to reduce the number of guests, maximum guests?
For sure, yeah. We did, and the only reason we did that is because we have 2 really large bedrooms. It's like a mother-in-law setup in this house. That's why. But we're fine with the 8-bedroom, of course. Yeah, eight people. I mean.
And the 10, I think, would have helped accommodate. Like we have a crib, and like the rooms are exceptionally large, and we provide air mattresses for like the children, because we've hosted guests before, and we know how it works. That people like to have their kids in their room, so that also.
But this could also mean 10 adults having a big pool party.
I suppose it could be. I would say that our vetting process has been pretty good, and we have a good amount of experience with this, and we've never had problems. Also, when I say we have strong relationships with our neighbors, like we have strong relationships, like we would know immediately should something happen. And if I could speak, the protest that came in, the letter, we saw that. I know the individual. Not to disparage him in any way, but I have talked to him just in general before he even knew we were going to do this months ago. And it's his opinion that this neighborhood wouldn't even allow like street parking of any kind or driveway parking. Everybody needs to park in their driveways. He's maybe a little overcorrected on his view, I would say. I guess what I'm saying is we've done this, and we kind of know what we're trying to accomplish here. And I don't see a party as an issue whatsoever, to be quite honest. Even the neighbor on the back side of our property is good friends with us.
So yes or no, you guys are willing to reduce your number of guests to 8? Yes. Okay. Yes. And then my last question on this application was parking. It says street parking is available. Is there enough parking to accommodate 8 guests if there were?
I believe so. We have two garage parking spaces, not in the garage, driveway parking spaces, and then there's plenty of room on the street, very wide streets.
Well, we're saying no street parking at all.
I'm sorry?
So you've got a double driveway, right?
We do.
So you could probably get 4 cars in there and 2 in the,
We could
that'd be a
easily
lot.
get 4 cars in the driveway.
Right. So would you be willing to advertise your property as no on-street parking?
Sure. We can do that.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody in the audience that wanted to address this case? Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'll move approval for case number 15069 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the special exception requested, with the following rules. No pets, no smoking, no parties, quiet time after 9 p.m., no on-street parking. and a maximum of 8 guests. I think I said for a period of 1 year, so.
We have a second? Motion and a second. Cast your votes when you get the, there we go. You're approved.
Thank you very much.
Item number 16, case number 15071, application for a special exception to allow lodging accommodations, home sharing, short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 3745 Northwest 20th Street.
I'm Rebecca Avey, 801 Northeast 19th Street. It's actually my property. It was owned by my dad for years, and he actually Airbnb'd it like back in 2015-ish. I thought that the grandfather clause would kind of move over to me since I bought it from my dad and I was managing it from him, but that wasn't the case. So here I am applying. So there is a ring camera on the property, maximum of 4 guests, off-street parking, no parties allowed. This is in the fairgrounds area, like I mentioned on another one, and so most of the guests that my dad previously had were in town for like 10 days at a time doing horse shows and stuff like that, and it's mostly just families that come in that area. Yeah.
Questions from the board?
What is parking like on this property?
It has 2 spots in the driveway. Minimum 2 nights stay on it as well.
I don't have any other questions.
Anything else from the board?
No, this one is in a unsaturated area, not too concerned
Yeah,
with
again,
this
I
one.
mean, I think that weighs in favor of this application. There's
No.
not a whole lot
Yeah.
in this area.
And I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to make a comment? If not, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'd move approval of case number 15071 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the special exception requested, on the condition that the property is advertised with the applicant's conditions that she has stated in her application, with the addition of a minimum 2-night stay for the property. And did you say you'd be willing to have off-street parking only?
Yeah.
And advertised as off-street parking only for a period of 1 year?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Cast your votes when you get your voting panel. You're approved.
Item number 17 is case number 15074, application for a special exception to allow home sharing, short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 2500 Denniston Drive.
Good afternoon. My name is Marina McLucky Williams, and I live at 11824 Blue Sage Road in Oklahoma City, 73120. The property that I was bringing up is at 2500 Denniston Drive, also in Oklahoma City, 73107. We also wanted to apply for a home sharing application. To my knowledge, I don't think this area is oversaturated, but I haven't done my research on that actually. This was our family home for over 10 years. This is our first venture into this. We are very close with our neighbors. We do have cameras installed. It's a corner property, so we have one in the front and the side door as well as the backyard. We too would like to do a 2-night minimum stay to avoid any parties or teenagers wanting to rent and trash a place. We really had in mind, and I did more research after I'd submitted this, we really wanted to focus on not long-term stays, obviously, but extended stays for possibly people visiting for hospital purposes, gaming. I know sports and stuff. My son plays soccer, and we travel every other weekend to a different location. So Airbnbs are kind of nice in that aspect. We've also set our house up in that way. As you can see, it has 8 guests. We have a queen-size bed in one room, 2 twin beds, a full-size pull-out couch in the living room, and a large living room / bedroom. It's a floor plan that could be either or, but we have a large room in there that has a queen-size Murphy bed as well.
Questions from the board?
Again, I mean, my concern with this one is just the number of guests. I mean, it's a 3-bedroom home, 8 people, and I know you've put a lot of sleeping arrangements, but I think the idea is that we're not trying to stuff as many people as we can into a residential home in a neighborhood. So I tend to have concerns about those that are putting a lot of people in a small place. I think that is conducive to what people that have objected or have concerns about it are. It gets right to the heart of what they're concerned about, and that's that people are going to be renting these homes to have big parties and big gatherings right in the middle of their neighborhood.
So my question is, with the reduction, does that include, is that adults or is that children? Because
That's
literally,
guests.
so that is including children as well. Because I think of, again, being a parent that travels with multiple kids. If also we have a lot of families that split, right? So if you have 2 families with 2 kids, I mean, you're already kind of cutting it close. So I mean, I don't know how many square foot the other house was, and they had 8, right? Is that
Well,
what
we
they were
look at every
reduced?
application on its own, and I mean, and I'm one board member. There's 3 other board members here. I'm just expressing for the record and for the board to, as we contemplate this matter,
Right.
That's my concern. I mean, I feel like, because again, you may be talking about a mom with 6 kids on a soccer team, or 6 people coming to have a party in the middle of, or 8 people coming to have a party in the middle of your neighborhood, this neighborhood. So that's why I have concerns when I see so many people in such a small home, or so many guests allowed in such a small space, but that's just me.
Any other comments, questions from the board?
No.
Okay, and again, I don't have anybody signed up on this one. Does anybody in the audience want to speak on this application? If not, I think we're ready for a motion.
So I guess the question for the applicant is, would you be willing, my question for you is, would you be willing to reduce the number of guests to 6 guests for purposes of your application?
Advertised guest.
What's that?
Advertised guest, yeah.
Yeah,
6.
advertised guests is 6, a maximum of 6.
Sure.
With that change, I'd move approval of case number 15074 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the special exception requested. A condition that the applicant advertise the property with the rules that you have stated in your application, and a maximum of 6 guests and a 2-night minimum stay for a period of 1 year.
Second.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes as soon as we get a voting panel. Approved.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Item number 18 is case number 15080, application for special exception to allow home sharing, short-term rental in the PUD 1611 Plan Unit Development and SRODD Scenic River Overlay Design District, located at 937 Peddlers Lane.
Hello, I am Michelle Massey at 937 Peddlers, and we bought this property for personal use and to do home sharing as well. So maximum 4 guests. We have a Ring camera, no smoking, no pets, no parties, and quiet time after 9 p.m.
Unfortunately, for you, I guess, this is one is getting saturated in Wheeler. And honestly, in my opinion, the way Wheeler was built, it's kind of conducive to this type of thing, but, you know, here we are, so.
Well, it's written in the HOA to have.
To have home sharing? Yeah.
Yes, there's a 90-night, I believe, maximum per year, but it's written into the HOA to allow for home sharing.
Yeah, and we can't consider any of that, or, I mean, it's irrelevant, but it's good for you to have that, for sure. So, yeah, it's a 90-day total rental, like all year long?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can have a maximum of 31 plus days. So if you had, you know, a nurse come in or whatever, so there's no limit to those, but short-term stays is 90
Gotcha.
days a year.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
There was no limit to what kind of stays? I'm sorry, what would you?
To a long-term
Anything
rental.
31 plus days.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it kind of sounds like Wheeler District foresaw this happening and kind of wrote it in their own rules, so.
And
I
that's
just
why I
wish
said
that-
it's, you know, for our personal use too. That's-
Yeah, right.
Bought it, and we're just trying to offset the cost.
Yeah. I just wish there was a way that we could, you know, use something like that to reference in here. Because I mean, that will help my decision a lot. If you can only rent it a max of, you know, say 90 days a year or 30? Just 90?
90.
Okay, 3 months total.
I think the last Wheeler application we had on this, that was a little unclear to me too, was it says, I mean, you're getting a special exception because it can't exceed the 30 days, but Wheeler allows you to do short-term rental for up to 30 days a year. Is that?
90 days.
90 days a year.
90 total staying days, I believe is what it is.
Okay,
Overnight stays.
yeah. Well, like Mike said, I mean, we can't consider HOA rules. I was just curious as to how
Right,
that
yeah.
worked, but.
My question is, do you have one parking spot?
Yeah, we have a covered parking space.
Okay.
The middle one is ours. Not that that matters.
Cindy, on the applications, because I'm seeing this on some and not others, but the question about whether there's other short-term rental properties, special exceptions already issued, is that part of the standard form that they're filling out?
It was added, but it's not on all of the applications from the very beginning of home sharing. It was just something that was requested by someone to put that in there as a bonus, just to kind of know if they're doing multiple ones.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I think, Mike, I share your concern. I mean, this is a small neighborhood. There's several already here. So I think if we approve this, then it should be on a very short-term basis. I don't know how long the others have left to expire or whatever, but, you know, obviously part of what we're trying to protect against is the whole character of a neighborhood changing into a hotel. So that would be my concern as well.
But I guess with my understanding of Wheeler, how it was set up, they have it in the HOA to allow this, and so everyone that's moved in there realized that this could be a possibility. A lot of the people that live there have garage apartments, you know, that's part of the reason why they bought in there. So I think because it's set up like that, it kind of protects, or people at least kind of know that that's a possibility in Wheeler for that to happen. Kind of like Carlton Landing, or, you know, it's kind of a vacation type place to me, I think.
Wheeler Park?
Yes.
Okay. I don't share that opinion, but I mean, I'm just
I-
one board member, so, I mean, that's.
They got their own bar and restaurant. I think that's pretty cool. You get
Yeah,
those tacos.
bar, restaurant, Ferris wheel, I mean, really don't even have to.
So
leave
does every
the
other
pool
district in
down
town,
there,
you
so.
know, Plaza, you know, everyone does, so.
You used to be able to fly your plane in there.
I do like the fact that there's a 90-day limit, which, you know, shouldn't restrict you as an owner. So as a member, I can see how I would lean towards voting.
Yeah, and I keep the prices higher on it too, just because we do have a limited amount of nights, and I think that that kind of weeds out, you know, some people. So, yeah, I don't know, I haven't had any problems or anything like that, so.
Had any problems with what?
Well, just, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Just like the people or anything like that have been staying there.
In this property?
Yes,
Okay, so you're already renting this property?
yes.
Okay.
So I didn't know I had to get a license because, like I said, the HOA already had that in there. And I joined an Airbnb group on Facebook, and then I realized I had to get a license from Oklahoma City, so
yeah,
here I am.
Thank you for doing the right thing.
Well, I guess, does anyone else have comments, or we have?
Nobody signed up to speak on this? Anybody in the audience want to speak on this case? If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I would like to move that we approve case number 15080 for a term of 1 year with the self-imposed restrictions that are already listed.
Do we have a second? Got a motion and second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Just barely. You're approved.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Item number 19 is case number 15083, application for special exception to allow home sharing short-term rental in the DBD Downtown Business District located at 627 Couch Drive, Unit S02.
I'm Holly Hartman. I'm the co-owner and wife of John Bremer, who's listed on the case. We bought the condo in April of 2020. We live in Stillwater, Oklahoma, but we have been considering moving to Oklahoma City because we spend a lot of time here with friends and entertainment. In addition, I travel for work, and so I fly out of Will Rogers Airport a lot and use the condo basically to come in at 11:30 at night and not have to drive all the way home, and then I'm out the next morning. At any rate, we use the residence 2 to 3 times a month as a couple, and then I'm in and out a little bit more than that myself. And so this is very much still primarily for us a second home, but we would like to be able to, in addition, occasionally offer it for guests to use. We're literally across the street from the Civic Center, in the Civic Center flats, and we have extended family, adult children and their spouses, brother and sister-in-laws, who would like to come in and stay on occasion as well. And we were looking at liability issues with our family and friends who do stay there, and felt that maybe having it be a short-term rental and having licenses for it would help protect us if there were any liability cases. It's a 1-bedroom condo, so it's 2 people maximum, and we would have the listed rules of conduct. I'm aware that you received something that said that the Civic Center flats don't allow short-term rentals, but in fact, the section that in the bylaws states that they do make exceptions and allow leasing. The primary, as long as the units are primarily owner-occupied. And we're aware that there is at least one other short-term rental being used in the Civic Center flats currently.
That was going to be probably my only question.
I'm sorry?
That was going to be one of my only questions. You were aware of the protest, so good.
Yes.
Have we granted another special exception there? Because I'm not seeing one on the map.
On what? Oh, on that other
You're saying
rental?
there's another home share property in the flats?
Yeah, there's bunches of home shares without licenses.
Right, I
so,
want to make
yeah.
sure I'm looking at the right map here.
Right.
Okay.
Quick question, are each of these units, are there parking spaces allocated for each of the units?
Yes, we have a dedicated numbered
space?
parking space.
Okay, thank
That's gated around the back of the building. Or, yeah.
The application that I'm looking at says number of rooms being offered is 3. Did you say it's 1 bedroom?
It's a 1-bedroom. There are 3
total rooms?
3 total rooms, yeah.
Okay.
There's a living area, a kitchen that's 1 room, a bedroom, and a bathroom. I guess you don't count a closet
That
as a
would,
room.
yeah, that would go with the 2 guest thing.
Right, I was like,
Big condo. 3 bed. Okay.
Anybody else have questions or comments on the board? And I don't have anybody signed up on this one to speak. Is there anybody in the audience wants to speak on this case? Okay, we're ready for a motion.
move approval of case number 15083 for the reasons that it meets statutory conditions, with the condition that the applicant advertise with the conditions that you have listed in your application, and changing the number of rooms to 1 instead of 3, and for a period of 1 year.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes as soon as the panel's up.
Thank you.
Approved.
Item number 20, case number 15084, application for special exception to allow home sharing, short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 217 Northeast 16th Street.
My name is Chris Kuykendall. I live at 8854 Morningside Road in Guthrie. The property of interest is 217 Northeast 16th Street. I lived here for a couple years with my family. A couple years after that, it was a long-term rental, and now looking for it to be short-term rental, 6 guests, 2-car garage, ample off-street parking.
Questions? I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is anybody in the audience? Okay. Anything else from the board? If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'd like to move that we approve case number 15084 for a period of 1 year with the self-imposed restrictions.
Got a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you.
Item number 21 is case number 150, application for special exception to allow home sharing, short-term in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 2139 Northwest 13th Street.
How are you? My name is Laura Polishek, and I live in New Jersey primarily. I closed on this property back in June. Just kind of love the city, like to stay here sometimes. I've recently thought about, I'm probably primarily going to be targeting like midterm stays, like 30 to 60 days, but I would like to have the option to do short term if possible. It's a 4-bedroom, so I'm thinking 8 guests. Putting it on Airbnb and VRBO. I do actually I have 2 short-term rentals in New Jersey as well. So I have experience, but I will have somebody here as a local property manager to help me out with that. And yeah, so I usually have an age minimum of 25 or older. Definitely no parties. We have a pretty large, long driveway with a carport. And I'm going to ask them to park in the back of the carport, so because my neighbor likes to share the driveway, so probably do that. and quiet time after 9. I'm going to have them sign a rental agreement in addition to what we have on Airbnb. And yeah, this is the Plaza District, which I've come to know recently is definitely getting saturated, as you mentioned before. Not as much, I didn't realize as much when I was looking in the area, but yeah.
I have a question, I guess, for a counselor. If we're granting a special exception, the statute says that it cannot exceed 30 days, consecutive days per rental. But you're saying that you want to continue renting for 60 and 90, but just have the option to do short-term.
Yeah, I haven't rented it out yet, so I wanted to come here first and get everything in order.
So if she's going to be renting.
It's going to be furnished, so that I'm going, I'd like to also consider like military families, traveling nurses, things like that, people working from home. That would be, I'd like to do both. I'd prefer that, but I'm open to doing short-term, just depending on how it works out, honestly, and what kind of
But
guests
if she
I have.
gets the special exception, can she rent for more than?
So not as a special exception. So she had a lease. Do you have a lease for the other rentals, the 60 and 90-day ones?
Well, you can do it on Airbnb, and then there's also additional like websites that are targeted for furnished short-term rentals.
So when you're saying short-term rental, other than what you're applying to this body for, you're talking about the 60 to 90-day ones on Airbnb or Vrbo? Or...
Yeah, exactly. Like you can go on Airbnb right now and book 60 days at a time.
Okay, so the thing that this body is considering is whether you can have something that lasts for up to 30 days. So you
Correct.
would not be able, as a short-term rental, to then also have 60 and 90-day.
Then you'd be a
rentals.
long-term rental, right?
Yes.
Right. That's why I wanted to ask, because I
But
want to
then you
make
don't.
sure that she's aware of what she's asking for. Because if we grant the special exception, which I don't know that, I mean, as you said, there's other things to consider. This is an extremely saturated area with short-term rentals. But
Yeah.
if it were to be granted, and maybe this is a consideration of whether or not you even want this,
Okay.
if we grant this, you cannot have, under your special exception permit, cannot have guests for more than 30 days. So if your aim, and you would rather have, you know,
understand.
60 or 90, then you would be in violation of your permit, correct?
Correct. The code provision says the rental of the entire home or bedrooms may not exceed 30 consecutive days per renter or guest.
I understand that, but I guess maybe I definitely didn't understand that it was one or the other. And either did my realtor. So now I understand. I understand. Okay. And would I have to make that decision now or come back in person to
We
have
can
that exception?
continue it
We
if
can
you don't have that
continue it.
decision now.
Yeah.
It can come back on
Come
another
back in 2 weeks and we
future
can hear it
meeting?
again.
Okay. Okay. And somebody can come in my place if I'm unavailable, correct? From New Jersey? Okay.
But you have another option too, because if you do want the short term, you can do that. And if we grant it, we can grant it for a short period of time.
I understand. Okay.
So you don't have to make an additional trip since you don't live in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider as well.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would like to move forward with the short term for right now because I just, the house is all set up and it's ready to go.
Yeah. Well, in
is
that vein, I guess, I mean, I wanted to clear up that legal question first, the statutory question.
Yeah.
But from just a perspective, just the perspective looking at the application, I mean, this, I guess, the board knows, I mean, my position on these, I mean, this is a very highly saturated area with short-term rentals. And it's still a residential neighborhood that people live in long-term, and it has, in my opinion, become saturated to the extent that it's changing the character of what the neighborhood is. And so I wouldn't be comfortable voting in favor of the application, but that's just me. So.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions? Comments from the board?
As far as guest, 8, I think is a little high. But, and you know, as Monica says too, it is a saturated area in the Plaza District, so we do have that. But as far as that's concerned, I can go for a year, but not any more than that.
I do want to discuss this, Mike, because you said as far as 8, that's kind of high, but if it's a 4-bedroom house, which is advertised as, you still think 8 is high?
It's an uncommonly large house for the area, yeah.
It is.
It is, I agree. They
Yeah,
extended
just to look at it, you
back.
can tell it, and you have plenty parking to accommodate up to 8 guests.
Yeah.
So that's not a problem for me.
Gotta work on that compromise then, so
You
we'll
and
go
I
to
will
7.
compromise.
7.5.
So
And
7
I'm
is
sorry,
also-
I apologize. Did you say that you could do it for less than a year if that's?
Yeah, we could do it for 9 months if you wanted
Okay.
to. But your home sharing license or your goes yearly, so it would be just out of sync with your special exception. It's not a huge deal. But say if you knew you were going to rent it for the next 9 months, short term, and then go long term, then yeah, 9 months would make sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'd initially also considered, because I would like to stay in it myself, so that was kind of why I considered the short term. But I was certainly not aware of that fact, so thank you for bringing that to my attention.
It's actually the first time it's been explained to me too, like that.
I don't think a lot of people know.
You're not alone.
Well, but the language clearly states short term. However, Airbnb and the other place, because they have their own policies and procedures, which do not supersede ours. That's why it seems conflicting.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely, yeah.
The way I figured
This-
it, if you didn't do it as a short term, it'd just revert back to, long term rental but going back and forth, I guess, I see. So.
So we would only have the one use at a time, though?
Yes.
Yeah, right,
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, there's anything else from the board?
Makes sense, I'm just.
Yeah, good question.
Sorry, I ran here out of the airplane, so I'm discombobulated. So thank you for your patience.
There's nobody who signed up to speak on this one. Does anybody in the audience want to address this case? If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
We are 21. I'll move to approve special exception number 15086 with the listed rules to be advertised with guest 7. Can we go 7?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the maximum number of 7 guests be advertised, no off-street parking, all that good stuff. So, period of 1 year.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Cast your votes. There we go. Barely. You're approved.
Thank you so much.
Item number 22 is case number 153, application for special exception to allow home sharing, short-term rental in the R2 Medium Low Density District located at 2543 Northwest 16th Street.
Hello, my name is Diana Robichaud of 2541 Northwest 16th Street. I purchased my home in December of 2019. It's a duplex home with 1 bedroom in each unit. The addresses are 2541 and 2543 Northwest 16th. Over the last 2 years, I've made significant interior upgrades to both units, of which I'm quite proud of. And I'm submitting my application for request for special exemption for home sharing because having the ability to rent my second unit of my home as a home share instead of having a long-term tenant allows me to have space for my family, who all lives out of state, to have a place to stay when they come to visit me. I intend to rent my 1-bedroom space to 2 adult guests max at a time, with the ability to host a small family of up to 4 with extra sleeping arrangements, with a pull-out couch situation in the living space. I also intend to enforce strict no parties, no smoking, no pet policies, and will provide 1 off-street parking space for 1 car. I will not be renting to guests who require any overflow parking. Again, no parties or anything like that. We'll also have a security camera, and I didn't think to include in my application that I should have a minimum, 2-night stay, but would be more than happy to include that in my rules. And, as I reside at the property myself, this is my home, so I take great pride in it, and nobody has a greater interest in ensuring safe, respectful, family-oriented guests than I do.
Questions from the board?
Well,
Is it because this is a duplex that it's not, that she's having to apply for this?
Yeah, you're
Because it has a different address.
2541, right?
Yeah, they
For
told me
your
because
resident.
it's a separate address, technically, it's
Gotcha.
not.
Got it, okay.
well, this one's not in the plaza. It's on 16th, but it's way west, so you're good there.
It's a very long walk.
Which address are you applying for?
2543.
2533?
43.
Oh, 43, okay, I'm sorry. And the other one has its own independent address as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else from the board? And again, nobody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody? Okay. You want to speak on this one? Okay, come on up.
Come on down.
I'm Rex Moore. We have the house at 2536 17th Street. I certainly respect the applicant's desire to maximize their property and so forth. We bought our house in 2018. It was, that neighborhood is very old, and it's in the process of being revitalized. And we spent a lot of money inside and outside of our house remodeling it. And this is a neighborhood that is, I see families moving into it now. And I'm frankly alarmed. I could not believe, after sitting through this for the afternoon, how many applicants in this area are applying for short-term rentals. That's alarming to me. And I just ask that you seriously consider this. I just don't know if it's in the best interest of this neighborhood.
Does the board have any questions?
Definitely mention that to your city council person if you can. If you can send an email to your council person, that would go a long way for that first.
For sure.
Okay. Bring the applicant back up and reply.
I definitely understand concerns of, homeowners and my neighbors in the area, and just, again, to reiterate, I live there, and so taking care of the property is in my best interest. And, when I purchased the home, the prior tenant that was living in the 2543 side of the duplex was there for close to 10 years, and the property was not maintained at all. And, we've done so much work to just revitalize the home on the interior. We're getting to the exterior next, and I certainly understand the concerns, but again, it's in my best interest to maintain the property.
Any other questions, comments from the board? Anyone else want to speak? Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion then.
I'd move approval of case number 15093 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for this special exception for a period of 1 year with the self-imposed conditions that the applicant stated in their application, with the addition of the requirement to advertise as a minimum of 2-night stay. And I think I said for a period of 1 year.
That's the
Second.
Oh my God. We got a motion and a second. Cast your vote as soon as there's a panel, if you'll turn that in.
I have no panel. I made the motion. Okay.
I'm having issues with that one today.
All right, now we got a motion and a second. As soon as we get the
Then you
voting
fixed it.
screen, cast your votes. Okay, you're approved.
Thank you.
I gotta go. Yes, I'm sorry.
Item 23 is case number 15094, application for special exception to allow home sharing short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 1716 Northwest 31st Street.
Hi there, my name is Yolanda Coronel, and I'm applying with my sister Corinne Cifarlippi, who's the one who put in the application. I reside here locally at 15252 Worthington Lane in Edmond. It's my sister and I's first sort of venture into the short-term renting through Airbnb. We're asking for the permit for the Asian district, which evidently is not very popular because no one here has asked for it today, but it is kind of an up-and-coming area. And I personally think it would help the area because it does seem to still be a little bit transitional, and people coming in to invest in the homes, I think it will just help the neighborhood a lot. So it's a 4-bedroom home. We are asking for 9 guests to be accommodated. There's 3 bedrooms with queen beds, and then there's a bedroom with a bunk bed that has 3 beds, like has a trundle bed underneath. So we are looking to rent to families. I was thinking kind of maybe 2, I have 3 siblings, and we always go on vacations together. So I was thinking maybe like two families would come in with their kids, right? So then you might have up to 3 kids or something, 4 kids. So that's why we're asking for 9 anyway. So we put in here no smoking, of course, no cigarettes, vaping, no illegal substances, no parties, of course. We are installing a Ring doorbell. What else did she put down here? And she put on here 7 years, so I haven't heard you guys approve 7 years. I think because she has rentals in Connecticut where she lives, and they must grant that in Connecticut. So, but I think that's all. 2-night minimum stay. My husband and I live nearby, so we'll be in the property, on a regular basis. I think that's it.
I think one thing that does weigh in favor of the application is, like you said, this area is not super saturated right now with short-term rentals. I think you're a whole section over from any that I even see on the map. So I think that weighs in favor of your application. But I'll state the same concern. I think 9 people is a lot to squeeze into a 4-bedroom house. So my question for you is, would you be willing to reduce the number of guests at your property down to 8, which would be 2 per advertised bedroom?
8 people, and what did you say?
A maximum of 8 guests. And then, did you address parking in your, I'm looking through all the photos.
There's parking in the back, and a carport, two spaces, and then there's a pad in the front that you can put 1 car.
Okay.
So there's parking really for 3.
Then I would ask, would you be willing to advertise this as off-street parking only? It says availability, but it doesn't require that there be off-street parking.
So park in the driveway area or in the car, sure.
Fishing allowed?
Fishing?
Yeah.
No fishing.
In the koi pond? Okay.
That's all the questions I have.
If there was, no, there is somebody to speak. They're not here, so. Monica addressed my concerns, so. If anybody else are ready for a motion, I'll take one.
Yeah, I would, are we ready for a motion?
Yeah.
I would move approval of case number 15094 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the special exception requested for a period of 1 year, with the conditions that the applicant advertise the property as a maximum number of guests to be accommodated is 8 instead of 9, a 2-night minimum stay, off-street parking only, and then all the rest of the self-imposed conditions that you have in your application.
Okay, great. 8 people.
Second? Kitty?
Did you second?
I can't second.
Oh, I can. Well, I would like to negotiate on the time frame, because 1 year, and because the area is not saturated, and it's in a district that we don't hear too often about. So would you compromise with 2 years, Monica?
I can modify my motion to accommodate for 2 years.
Thank you. Second.
Technology's great, isn't it? When it works.
It's showing a vote for Mike.
Oh, it did, didn't it? He probably
You
didn't
switched
sign it.
computers, but it's also showing one for you.
Yes. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Item number 24 is case number 15095, application for special exception to allow home sharing short-term rental in the R1 Single Family Residential District located at 4925 Northwest 19th Terrace.
Good afternoon, I'm Joe Selby. I live at 312 Claremont Drive in Edmond. This application is for our previous house that I lived in with my family at 4925 Northwest 19th Terrace for a home sharing license. 3 bedrooms, maximum 6 guests, quiet hours after 10 o'clock, no parties. There is a 2-night minimum, but I did not put that on here. Yeah, we had the chance to move to Edmond to get a new house, and we wanted to keep this as a investment property. So we had some people say you need to try the short-term rental Airbnb thing, because as you guys probably know, the benefit is that you're constantly cleaning, keeping up with the property as opposed to a long-term rental. So that is what we've decided to try.
I don't have my little area map, but
I don't either. Did you receive a copy of the protest that was filed?
I did.
Do you want to speak to anything in the?
I know that group. We used to go to those meetings, and they are concerned about the apartment complexes that are there, and I think they're worried about crime, which I don't really understand. I don't agree with that. Airbnb, brings in crime. Airbnb has a no party policy as we do. There's a Ring doorbell, so if anything, if there was activity that viewed as a party could be happening, we would immediately make that stop. So I don't see how it would. Like, I understand what they're saying, but I don't think there's a lot of other short-term rentals in the area. So yeah.
Cindy, do we have a map on this one? I didn't see a map for this one on this property.
yeah.
The use maps.
But you're right, what shows us what's around it. Mine's over there.
I didn't hear you.
One short.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure my packet wasn't missing something. I don't think that we've granted a lot in this area, but.
Oh, wait, I see it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Oh,
That
yeah.
corner lot.
Yep.
Got stuck in the middle somewhere.
Yeah. Anybody else have questions for him?
I don't. It looks like neighbors to some people that I know.
And I'd requested 10 years because they said that was the max. I just kind of swung for the fences on that.
Yeah, we
one.
never gave that.
Okay. No problem. I just wasn't, why not?
Yeah. Do you have any questions, Kitty, for him? Okay. I move approval of case number 15095 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the special exception requested. Condition that the applicant advertise the property with the self-imposed conditions that are listed in his application for a period of 1 year.
It passes.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, the last item, number 26, was withdrawn. Additional items, nothing. Communications, board reports, board committees, saying none. Board members, Kitty? Anything? Me? Nothing. Monica? Nothing. Just counselor, got anything? Citizens to be heard, I don't see any. Does there look like a chair? And any other business? Anything you want to talk about? It's free for all.
Short-term rental.
Oh, so looks like we are adjourned. Yeah, she got a new name.
I was looking at that.